Hello, my name is Evan Drury. I'm the creator of Cequis, and as such they've asked me to do a quick little video presentation describing for you the rules and gameplay and various features about the game. Here you can see I have the board already set up as two players would. We have the clear team on this side and the solid team on this side, and all the pieces are within a 2 hexagon depth of each player's board edge. So long as your pieces are within that area, you can put them any way you like. This player seems to like his groups of 3s, whereas this player has a couple groups of 2s and some single pieces and one group of 3. And you can put them any way you like within your 2 hexagon depth. It doesn't really matter. The goal of Cequis is to reduce your opponent down to the point where he has 3 or less pieces left in play. Once you have done that, then you win. The reason for that is because to eliminate pieces from play, you want to surround your opponent's pieces on 4 or more sides. Here I have a board set up where we're going to take a look at this clear white piece, and we're going to play the role of the solids. Right now it's surrounded on 1, 2, 3 sides. So all I would have to do is move this white piece here, and it's already surrounded on 4 sides, so this clear piece would be removed from gameplay. Notice that they aren't necessarily adjacent hexagons that it's being surrounded on. I could have just as easily moved this group of 2 down to here and surrounded it on 4 sides as well, and once again removed it from play. Piece elimination is an automatic process. If I was to take these 2 clear pieces, for instance, and move them into this cove, because clear was the player that made the movement, they get the advantage of removing any pieces that can be removed from their opponent first. This solid blue piece, for instance, is surrounded on 1, 2, 3, 4 sides by clears, so it's removed first. Now we take a look at the board and we see that this clear piece can also be removed. Because it's on 1, 2, 3, 4 sides by solid, so it is also removed from play, and now it is the solid player's turn. There's another way that pieces can be eliminated, and that is by smothering them against the board edge. I'll just do a quick board setup here. And as we can see, these clear pieces still have a method of escaping. They can still theoretically come out here and get back to the main board. However, once it's solid player's turn, they can simply move this white piece down here, and these pieces are smothered against the board edge now, so they are removed from play. As you can see, that's a very quick way to gain an advantage in this game and can really make the difference between a win or a loss. Now we're going to move on to basic piece movement so that you can find out how you can get your opponent's pieces eliminated. Now let's talk about basic piece movement. Basic piece movement is just moving around either a single piece or a group of your pieces. To move a single piece, very simple, just put your finger on a single piece and move to an unoccupied hexagon. You can see that this motion can be used to break up a group. Here we have a group of 3, now it's a group of 2, now it's 3 individual pieces. You can also use it to combine groups. So for instance, if I move this one here, we have a group of 2, and if I move this one here, we have a group of 3. You can also move a single piece to change the shape of a group like so, or like so. To move a group of pieces, you move them all at the same time, 1 hexagon in the same direction. So I can move them back 1 hexagon, for instance, sideways 1 hexagon, or up 1 hexagon. Notice that they stay in the same pattern. There is no such thing as a rotational movement where you'd go like this. That would be an illegal move, can't do it. Also, all the destination hexagons have to be vacant for this movement to work. So for instance, once I'm here, I can't move in this direction because these 2 pieces would move fine, but this one would be blocked, so that would be illegal. With group movement, it's all for one and one for all. If you're not moving just one piece, you have to move all the pieces. You cannot move 2 pieces away to create a single piece in a group of 2, and you can't move 2 pieces to change the shape of a group either. Those are illegal moves. It's all for one or one for all. Now we're going to move on to sequencing, which is the great move where you can take over an occupied hexagon. Now we get into the really interesting stuff. A sequence is a move where you can take over an occupied hexagon. Basically, a sequence is where you take one piece belonging to a group. It can be either a group of 3, as Clear has here, or a group of 2, and it'll work the same way. A single piece can't do this move, so it has to be a group. And basically, you take one piece, move it onto the occupied hexagon, and you'll notice that this solid black piece gets automatically kicked back one space. And that's basically all there is to a sequence. The rules of doing a sequence is that your pieces have to move in a straight line, as we have here. The destination hexagon has to be empty, which it is. And the group that you're using to do the sequence has to be a group of the same number and original pieces before and after the sequence. So here once again we have a group of 3 clear. I look in a straight line, this one's empty, and it's still a group of 3. That's all there is to it. There is a pushback rule where if clear makes this sequence the first turn, solid black cannot do the opposite sequence the very next turn. They would have to wait at least one turn before they can do a sequence back in the opposite direction. The sequences are great for moving around other pieces. You can break up opponents' groups like so. And you can even sequence your own pieces. This works for just the simple sequence and the compound sequences. You can move your own pieces to break up your own groups, combine groups, however you like. That's the simple sequence. At this point, it'd be a good idea to play a few games using the rules that you've learned so far. The surrounding on 4 sides, the simple basic piece movement, as well as this simple sequence. Once you get comfortable with that, you can move on to the next part, which is how to create compound sequences. Now we're moving on to compound sequences. This is a little more complicated, but so long as you remember the rules of a simple sequence, this shouldn't be too difficult. A compound sequence is where you can use more than one of your own groups to take over more than one occupied hexagon, or shift them all one hexagon. They're exactly the same as a simple sequence in that they have to be in a straight line, the destination hexagon has to be empty, and once again, there is a pushback rule. Basically, a straight line, and once again, the groups that start or participate in the compound sequence have to be groups of the same number and original pieces before and after the compound sequence. So we'll just reset this and take a look at it again. Here we have 2 groups and 2 pieces, and once again we have 2 pieces that we want to move. Because it's equal force, so we have 2 sequencing 2, this is a legal compound sequence. If we were to set this up differently, so that we have it set up like this is still a legal compound sequence, because we have this one moving this piece, and this one moving this piece. If I rearrange it once again, to have it in this formation, it suddenly becomes a non-legal compound sequence, because this piece here has to move 2 pieces before it finally gets some help. Basically, it comes down to simple math. I'll just reset these pieces so that it's legal once again. And if you start at the start of the compound sequence and work your way down the line to the end, for each piece that you're using to help, you can add 1. For each piece that is not helping, subtract 1. If at any point between the start and the end, the total drops below 0, it means that you don't have enough help to complete the compound sequence. So here we have +1 minus 1 is 0, +1 is +1, minus 1 is 0. Because we didn't fall below 0, it's a legal compound sequence. However, if I move it back to where it's illegal and we try the same thing, we have +1, minus 1 is 0, minus 1 is -1. At this point, we know it's not a legal compound sequence, and so it cannot be done. Once again, compound sequences can be done to move your own opponent's pieces or even your own pieces. So if I have these ones here, because at the end of the compound sequence, this white group will be broken up, and I'll show you. They aren't helping in the compound sequence, so you have to have enough force to move them. Even if you have it set up like so, I can still use these two groups to move this one piece because I have more than enough force to do so. Even if I have it set up like this, even though it may appear I don't have enough force, here we have +1, -1 is 0, +1, and we have enough force to do it. Because this last piece can sequence on its own, so we still have enough force to move it in that way, and it's still a compound sequence. I know this can get a little bit confusing and complicated, so if you have any questions, please email us at cequis.ca or awesomeboxgames.com, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have about these rules. I hope that you've enjoyed viewing this video, and thank you very much for watching.